Hi, everyone. Thanks for hopping on. Welcome to JH Creative's show, Get Creative with JH Creative. And I'm so happy to introduce to you my guest, Ryan Rains. And he's the director of the North Florida Wildlife Center. And I can tell you a little bit about how I came about to decide to invite him to be as a guest, but also just a little bit more about the show. It's a show about local Tallahassee's and North Florida's entrepreneurs and people who influence our community and make an impact. I really wanted to give everyone a platform to tell us their story and why they do what they do. So I'm really excited to feature guests like Ryan to talk about everything that they're passionate about. So thank you so much, Ryan, for hopping on today.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, I have Chrissy, who's super supportive and has been. She has a couple more shows where she's going to help me produce more shows. And then, of course, she's on to bigger, better things. I'd love to eventually have her as a guest on my show for sure, because that's in the works. And Chrissy is managing all the comments, anything that I might not see that pops up over there. So please share your comments, like and share this episode. This is the 18th episode of Creative. I cannot believe it since we started. And it's in total 21 episodes if you want to see my other series. So thanks to Chrissy for making this happen.
And thanks, Chrissy.
Yeah. So she'll be behind the scenes helping me out. If there's anything that I'm not seeing, feel free to submit messages in the chat. So let's dive in. I have some pictures she'll be pulling up. I wanted to, it's really like talking about how I found you and how it was really neat to see. So when I was scrolling through, I started seeing pictures of you, and it was with your Instagram account, Rainforest Ryan. So I know you as Rainforest Ryan. And I was so impressed. I was like, oh, this person's in Tallahassee and he has over 10,000 followers. And of course, you also manage, and you're a director of the North Florida Wildlife Center. So we're going to talk about why you started there. Tell me a little bit more about your story. Where did you go to college? Things like that.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Congrats on your 18th episode. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So I went to Florida State University, go Noles. My freshman year, I actually went abroad to Panama, to Central America, which was absolutely life-changing. I went for the whole year. That was incredible. I can do a whole episode just on that. So that was awesome. And then sophomore, junior, senior year, I was here at main campus. And I started out being a biology student. I ended up switching to environmental science and graduated with a degree in environmental science with minors in biology and anthropology. And that was in 2018. And then about 6 months later, I started what was originally the Avian Biodiversity Center in Tallahassee. We grew so quickly that we moved out to county land. Actually, the next county over, Jefferson County, or around Monticello, which is the next city over. Yeah. And it's about 30 minutes away from basically where anyone lives in Tallahassee, so right outside Tallahassee. And we went from being the Avian Biodiversity Center to the North Florida Wildlife Center because by that time we no longer had birds, just birds.
Oh, so that's why you had a lot of photos of you and birds in the beginning.
Now, you still see a lot of photos in me with birds. The center has grown well past my own personal interests. It was never about me. It's certainly not about me anymore. I miss the simpler days where it was just me and the birds, but those were good days, the golden days. No, we're having an awesome time right now, but we have tons of animals that are not birds, even though we still focus mainly on rare and endangered bird species, from multiple species of kangaroo and wallaby to several critically endangered lemur species. We have a rescue non-releasable beaver. We just have a whole bunch of really strange, rare, and endangered odds and ends animals. There's my account. So you'll see a couple photos of me there with a lemur or a kangaroo Joey or something, but I mostly, or my pig, I have a pet pig, and my husky, lots of photos of them. Anyone who visits the North Florida Wildlife Center will sometimes see the pig or the husky running around. They're not part of the center, they're my pets. That means I'm somewhere on property. And this is the North Florida Wildlife Center Instagram. We're really active on Instagram. I used to be a lot more active on my personal account. It took me years and years, starting in high school when I made my account, I think freshman year, to gain that many followers. You know, it was posting every single day a really interesting photo of me with an animal or something like that. You know, just gaining a few followers a day for years. But I've shifted my focus as I've grown older to my businesses, my organization's Instagram, which is a lot more interesting than my personal life. So I enjoy doing it, and it's great. You know, we have some incredible animals to show. We all take some really nice photo and media of the animals. That up on the top left is a little flyer about one of National Geographic's many visits to the center. We have a National Geographic photographer that comes out pretty often. He's about to come out for his 4th time next month.
Wow.
To photograph species that we obtain for the Photo Arc, which is a National Geographic project that aims to photograph all species in captivity before they become extinct in the wild forever. So we are honored
fascinating.
to be a part of
Julia, we have a quick comment from Rachel here. She says, there's a lot of variety of animals. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yes, we have.
Yes.
We still have a lot of biodiversity, not necessarily avian biodiversity, but overall we have a ton of biodiversity at the Wildlife Center.
That's really fascinating, and it's really neat. So it sounds like you were really, and I know you don't want to give yourself too much credit, but maybe you can tell me a little bit more. You were very involved in growing that. I think your involvement it sounded like you were just the main person managing it, and then all of a sudden it just grew. Did it grow with other factors? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I have always been and will always be, God willing, the backbone and the foundation of the Wildlife Center. You know, I have grown with it. You know, I'm kind of, it's like the dog pulling on the leash now, whereas I was the one pulling it before. So I try to keep up with it now because it's just exponential growth. But I personally, and the center has foundations off my very, very high standards, not just for work quality by our staff and team volunteers, but also for the welfare of the animals. You know, the animals are in captivity.
Right.
They cannot go back to the wild because they've either been born in captivity or are rescues. So our job is to give them the best quality of life possible, both physically, health-wise, and also mentally, as far as enrichment goes. You know, giving them new plants, giving them new sights, sounds, smells, new toys, things like that. A lot of the birds you'll see on our Instagram accounts, we even free fly. We take them out. We train them for several months. We take them out and allow them to fly around the property. They come back before we even call them. They get hot pretty easy. They're spoiled.
Wow.
Quality of life is very important to us. Again, the animals are in captivity. It's not their fault. So what we do is give them the best quality of life possible. So I went off on a tangent there, but that's the backbone.
That's awesome.
High quality of life. And also we're very big on aesthetics. We want things to look nice. Given that we're a very small nonprofit, don't have a lot of funding, we put a lot of work into things looking beautiful for visitors. Our enclosures don't look like cages. They look like beautifully wooded, planted habitats, and they're huge. Now, starting out, my best friend, Sarah, who is now away at vet school, was my right hand in getting the Wildlife Center started. You know, she was my wingman. If I was ever sick, if I had to take a day off, she was there helping get the animals fed, training volunteers. And then other credit goes to our volunteers, FSU students mainly, not exclusively. But without the volunteers, we're a very small nonprofit. We only have 3 paid full-time employees. That's all we can afford, because the money goes into the animals.
Right.
And our pay is very minimal too. Again, it's all about the animals. But if it were not for the volunteers, this place would not exist. And if anyone watching is interested in volunteering, please send us an email, call us, message us on Facebook, message me personally, message the North Florida Wildlife Instagram. We are always desperate for volunteers. We can never get enough things done in the day. There are not enough hours in the day to get everything done that needs to get done.
That's wonderful. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask, how can people help support your organization? So there's volunteering.
There's volunteering.
Yeah.
We are a nonprofit, so any donations are totally tax deductible. We have an Amazon wish list. You can call in a donation. You can send us a PayPal donation. You can drop off some moldy strawberries at our gate on while you're passing by. That goes a long way. Produce donations.
Oh, I love that.
Tons of ways to help.
Oh, so even just like food for the animals.
Yes, and I would argue the biggest way of helping is coming to visit, because you paying for admission or a tour or an animal encounter pays for the animal's lifestyle. The people wonderful. By visiting are paying to have the animals well fed, well enriched, well cared for, etc.
Thanks, Rachel. She mentioned it's such important work that you're doing. It's really true, and you're preserving wildlife. And obviously you're getting a national exposure with National Geographic. That's pretty fascinating. Yes. So do people contact you often too across the country? People can tour from across the country. Obviously, it's not just for local people. Do you have to book an appointment or a tour in advance?
Yes. So at the moment, we ask that anyone visiting have a reservation for a tour. Okay. Because we are so young and have lost so much time from construction due to COVID, we are still not completely constructed. We're not set up like a zoo yet. We're not a zoo, but we would like to one day be set up like a public zoo where you would be able to walk around without having to have a reservation. But at the moment, we do ask that people have a reservation for a tour. And of course, we offer animal encounters where you can interact, feed, and learn about the kangaroos, wallabies, lemurs, etc. during the tour. So it's an incredible experience.
That's so neat. So I was going to ask you too, like, I don't think you're trying to aim to be like a typical city zoo. I think it's unique because it's wildlife, and it's not going to be animals encaged looking depressed. It's actually animals that are happy, and you can interact with animals.
Correct. And here we go. There's a photo of me in bed with a kangaroo Joey. Yeah. So the story with that is, after my best friend Sarah, who was our vet tech, once she left to vet school, the responsibility fell on me to raise the Joeys, or the orphan Joeys that need to get bottled. Before that was her job. I have absorbed the responsibility for now. I do not live, at least I don't live full time at the wildlife center. So fortunately and unfortunately, the kangaroo Joeys, the older ones, have to come home with me at night for a midnight bottle. Which is cute and cuddly, but at the end of the day, it's taking work home.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But
it looks like, oh man, it's almost like you've got so many kids to look after and making sure keep track. They've all been fed. I mean, how many? It sounded like you made a list, but how many in total? Do you kind of know ballpark figure?
We actually don't have a whole lot of animals right now, but you might think otherwise from the number, but I think we're at around 70 to 80 individuals right now. It changes all the time, especially because we have, well, a lot of, here's Coda. This is my husky. That's my son. It changes a lot, but you also have to keep in mind a lot of these animals can be really small or tiny. We have dozens and dozens of stick insects. This is my pig Lunchbox. He is actually a mascot at a local business, and this is me on site with him, training him. He's an awesome animal to work with. I'm actually not a big fan of domesticated animals, which is why we don't have any at the Wildlife Center. They're also not wildlife. But Lunchbox has proven to be one of the most interesting animals by far to work with.
That is so neat.
pigs are so incredibly intelligent.
Wow.
It blows my mind. He makes my dog seem like he was born yesterday.
Sorry, that's hilarious. I was gonna guess. I wasn't sure if this was your pet pig. So it's another company's mascot, and you're training Lunchbox.
That is correct. And
Okay.
and at the end of the day, he is mine. He's my second son. I love him to death. But on top of that, he's also the mascot of a local company. And if anyone visits the wildlife center, you might see him running around, but sometimes we pen him up with our beaver, Teddy, for the day to cuddle with him, since he's nocturnal and sleeps during the day.
That's so neat. So, but do you also, like you said, you raise funds? So I'm guessing you also apply for grants, those kinds of things, because
yes. So the vast majority of our funding comes from visitors visiting and paying for the visits. Second to that, I think, would be donations in general, not necessarily monetary, but donations, produce donations, material donations, monetary donations. And we get a lot less donations than people think we do. You know, things are hard for everyone.
Yeah.
But we get a lot less donations, I think, than people expect us to get. We don't have a huge donor base either, given that we're such a young organization. But anyone who wants to Venmo, PayPal, $5, it can feed an animal for a week. You know, it makes a huge difference. And any larger amount, again, can be written off your taxes. And then, unfortunately, the smallest funding method we have is grants. Like you said, we're still a very young organization, and at least 75% of grants want to see like the last 3 years of IRS paperwork. We haven't even been around for that long, so it's very difficult.
Okay, that's really good to know. And even small funds or donations, like $5, can go a long way for you. So that's really, really good to know. Yeah. And I noticed with your social media, because you grew a big following personally, and now you are managing primarily the North Florida Wildlife Center's account. Have you seen any donations come through there? Has it been helpful with that? And also TikTok, I noticed you just started an account. I think I found you there. I've heard great things about people raising funds through TikTok too.
Let me tell you, TikTok is where it's at, straight up. And I'll get to that in a second. But for Instagram, when I shifted over to the North Florida Wildlife Center Instagram and really put all my effort into it, I really noticed a huge difference, because I know I do a very good job at social media, and I don't need to find someone else, another volunteer or employee, to do it for us. Yeah. And it has really made a huge difference. I've really learned how to, get donations through posts and whatnot, and when we should show certain animals for people to see, to gauge interest in visiting on what might be a slow weekend, et cetera. So that has definitely helped. People also just like seeing stuff. And believe it or not, it's hard for me to take the time to walk around for 2 minutes and take some nice photos. It's really hard to delegate that time. And then as far as TikTok goes, so I actually forgot that the Wildlife Center has a TikTok. There it is. Yeah. So we posted 4 TikToks. I think those are pre-COVID. So and they're really cute. I think it takes a good amount of work. You have to be shown on the For You page a good few times and go viral a few times before you gain a good following. But at the moment, we're still very behind in everything, and I'm putting all my effort into Instagram and Facebook, since we already have a really good following there. Yeah. As we progress out of the pandemic, and when we hire a new employee, and when I have more time on my hands, I will definitely attempt to go full on, not on my personal TikTok, but definitely the Wildlife Center's TikTok. But I like to do things with, the best of my ability. And at the moment, I don't have that time. It takes a good amount of time to put together a really good TikTok video. It's not the same as an Instagram or Facebook post. Right. So we absolutely will be more active on TikTok, but in time.
No, I really commend you just for putting all the time and energy into that, because some small businesses don't even realize the value of it. But when it comes to wildlife, supporting a nonprofit organization, it's really valuable. So
Absolutely.
it's going to do all the word of mouth for you 24/7. So I'm really happy you're doing that.
Is like a different, like the videos you post on TikTok are nothing like the videos you would be posting on Instagram.
Right.
You know, so they're also very different platforms.
Yes. The features that they provide for each, even though Instagram probably pretty much copied off of TikTok, they realize how TikTok does a great job, but it's tremendous. I don't practice a whole lot with TikTok, but my daughter knows a ton of tricks. So I'm like, you need to teach me. And I try to get her to do stuff for me. She's like, no, but
you just gotta scroll. You gotta see what people are doing. You gotta learn.
It is. That's pretty much how I'm learning too, is like consuming the content that I'm seeing and people that I follow. So it's really cool. And I hope you can't hear the background noise, because my kids are still here during the summer and I could hear them crying right now. But with having to manage like almost 80 animals and still managing this account as well. I mean, obviously you're truly passionate. You truly care about animals and the wildlife. Were you instrumental in founding the North Florida Wildlife Center, or did you have somebody else pretty much reach out to you? Hey, I think we should start this. Tell me a little bit about that story too.
I did it by myself. I did not.
So you started it pretty much. Wow.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm the founder.
Yeah.
And I also take the role as executive director. So I oversee all operations, from animal care training to who's cutting the grass to tax paperwork.
You're pretty much running the whole show. And that's like, this is entrepreneurial pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So with companies like the National Geographic and everything, have you gotten some other press? And with the photos, do we get to see some of that? Is it being sold in some way?
So I'm not sure if you can pull it up now, but if you scroll back in our Instagram, the lag of when National Geographic takes media at our place and when we get it is about a year and a half.
Oh.
So as of right now, we only have photos and video from the first visit, which was almost 3 years ago, and and one video from the second visit, which was a year and a half ago.
So it might be like all the way down there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to scroll a little bit, and it's gonna be a bird with a really big bill and a solid black background. You won't miss it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And we try to. I see it's been a while since we've reshared the photos, so we're definitely due. Okay, that there's one.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh,
so that's a baby toucan, taken by National Geographic, but not the one I wanted.
Yeah.
To show you guys.
I don't mind scrolling. We still have some time.
If you go a little. Oh, here we go. So this video. Scroll up a little bit. This video with the on the right. There we go. So that's Joel Sartori. And that is him photographing what's probably a bird inside that light box.
Wow.
And actually now, if you scroll up a little bit, I know we have a video of that bird in the light box. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going a little bit. A little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more. There we go. Top right, middle right.
Here.
There we go. So that's Einstein.
Wow.
And those are some photos. Oh, there we go. There's a video.
Yeah.
So that's off Joel's laptop. I took a video with my phone off Joel's laptop. So this is our long-tailed hornbill.
Wow.
This is a very rare species. You can see why we named him Einstein.
Yes, the hair.
So we haven't gotten any of the actual photos from him yet.
Oh no.
Which is why I take photos of everything happening, because it's almost 2 years until we see the photos.
I'm glad you captured that. That's
but they've started actually to post the photos they've taken with us on their social media.
Oh, good.
Not only on the photographer's social media, but the entire National Geographic page actually just posted that photo of that baby toucan. and it got millions and millions of likes. We had tons of people following us. And we've actually been, I and my staff have been on the news lately, the local news, WTXL, in the newspapers, NPR, quite a bit in the last year, which has been fantastic.
That's
so
wonderful.
For our first 2 years of existence, we're doing very well.
Yeah, I think you're doing really amazing, and you're on the track I could see growing to even more. Do you have, I don't know if you want to share this publicly, like, do you have a goal that you're seeing that you want it to be like, are you picturing a large property with wildlife?
Yeah, we have right now about 11 acres. I'm never satisfied. So, one day, we'll have an adjacent larger property with a drive-through safari, whatever.
Wow.
But that's more of a, as the years go by, I realize that's a lot bigger headache than what I already have. It's responsibility,
Yeah, right.
But there are some goals, in 15, 20 years from now, I would like the 11 acres to be not fully developed, but, because a lot of it is swamp that we want to protect, and maybe just build a boardwalk through for people to see natural Florida.
Wow.
But, we'd like to have our aviary complex complete with walk-in aviaries. I'd like to have enough staff where I can just be the supervising director one day and not be on top of every little thing. That would be great one day, because I could not have the responsibility I have right now forever. I would not live very long. And I do have a few goals here and there as far as animals go. Like I'd like to have a full-on breeding program for lots of endangered birds going. I'm a big bird guy.
Wow.
Unfortunately, giraffes are now on the endangered species list. And I personally, I'm not a big mammal guy, but giraffes absolutely fascinate me. I would love to have giraffes on property one day, to have a breeding program and really be focusing on that.
Wow.
We have some really, really nice property with plenty of acreage that we could have large animals on one day. But I just kind of go day by day right now. Otherwise, I drive myself insane.
No, I know. I totally get it. And I think that is truly the heart and soul of a true entrepreneur.
And I might add, because we get asked all the time, we definitely do not intend on ever having animals like chimpanzees, gorillas, elephants, lions, tigers, bears. Plenty of other facilities have those animals. We kind of focus on some of the smaller endangered animals like birds and lemurs, other animals like that. I would love to have the only large animal I'd love to have one day is a breeding colony for, of course, conservation purposes of giraffes. They're just they change you. Giraffes just change you. They're so incredible.
That's wonderful. And I really am so inspired by your vision here. And I think you could do so much with even probably potentially, if you're open to this, I could see local businesses wanting to support you and just even sponsor maybe parts of your property.
I can't believe I forgot to mention it. We actually have a brand new sponsorship program.
Oh, wonderful.
We build these stunning exhibits for the animals, and then we find sponsors for them after the fact, instead of getting a business to sponsor an exhibit that they might not like after it's put up.
Right.
We're blessed that the local lumber and hardware store gives us the materials to build the exhibits and lets us pay them once we've gotten the sponsorship. Our exhibits are absolutely stunning. And we have gotten thousands of dollars of business sponsorships from small family businesses to veterinary clinics in the last few months. And all that signage is going up now, and it's really, really nice.
That's so exciting. I want to see more of it for sure. And I need a plan to take a trip out with my family. And I know you've got work to get to, and I want to end with this for those who catch this recording later on. Please support the North Florida Wildlife Center and Ryan and his vision here for the wildlife. Obviously, follow him on Instagram follow him even primarily with the that here that you can see the right account is @ NFWC Tally. That's where he's going to promote most of the organization information. His personal, he's kind of like, oh, once in a while, I might show something, but
Yeah,
he's
you have to
primarily
choose
managing
one.
that.
Choose the NFWC Tally one.
Yes. Yes. And thank you so much, Ryan, for hopping on and telling us a little bit more about your story and your passion. I'm really excited to see where this takes you in the next 5 to 10 years. I could see it happening, and keep posting. Keep posting. And I could see I've seen people raise thousands of dollars, if not millions, on TikTok and Instagram alone. So keep posting and keep sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me, Julia.
Thank you.